Hi aspirants, welcome to SIVARAJAVEL IAS Academy's weekly roundup current affairs for science and technology and miscellaneous. The first topic is about GitHub. This GitHub was in news because recently there were some antisocial elements or immature people who had created an Android app and used that app to create a disgrace and to women by morphing their photos, displaying their phone numbers with unhealthy comments on them and so on. And they had used this GitHub to upload their softwares. This GitHub is a provider of internet hosting of software development and version control. It uses a software called Git. This Git software was actually created in 2005 by Linus Torvalds, and he is actually the founder of the Linux operating system, which is an open source operating system which we have used. And it provides access control and several collaboration features such as bug tracking, feature request, task management, and etc. everything. And this GitHub is a subsidiary of the Microsoft since 2018. And GitHub is the world's largest open source developer community platform where users upload their projects. And since this is an open source platform, the code can be used by others to view, edit, tweak, and so on. Actually, this is a great thing for developers, for engineers to express their knowledge, to grow with that. But here, some people use it for wrong purposes as well. So how could someone use it for such wrong purposes? So being a subsidiary of Microsoft, is there any threshold for this? Any conditions for this? Actually, topics such as age, body size, disability, ethnicity, gender identity, expression, level of experience, nationality, personal appearance, race, religion, sexual identity and orientation are not forbidden. All such things are not forbidden. If you're going to create an app, they don't forbid, they don't keep checking with all these things, whether you're creating an app regarding all these things. But speech that attacks a person or group of person on the basis of their identity or any of these topics is not allowed. If you attack a person or a group of people based on their identity, that is not allowed here. And moreover, the GitHub platform does not allow doxing. So what is doxing? Revealing personal information with malicious intent. And also it does not allow invasion of privacy. Obscene and pornographic content is not allowed, but it does not mean all nudity or all code and content related to sexuality is prohibited. Not like that. But pornography is not allowed in it. So the question will probably be from what is GitHub and who manages it and what are the restrictions there. All these could be a question. The next topic is about metaverse. This is a huge issue nowadays. People are discussing about it, particularly psychiatrists and behaviorists are discussing a lot about this. And recently there was also news. India's first metaverse marriage, a Tamil couple have actually did it. So what is actually metaverse? It is an interconnected three-dimensional virtual world where people can network socially and commercially with one another. So see here, we already have this virtual friendship. We give friendship requests to anyone we don't even know, and we call them friends, and we are very proud of having thousands of people in our Facebook friend list. But here they have gone to a step ahead, where you can actually virtually live there and people will be created there, and you can have relationship with them, you can be friends with them and so on. And here you can also have property, you can buy a house and such. All these things also you can do. So how do you buy all these things? There you use something called as non-fungible token or NFT. So this is the new crypto asset. It is non-transferable digital certificate of ownership. So if you are going to buy a house in this metaverse, in this virtual world, you can use this non-fungible token. And it's a man-made extension of wish fulfillment, where things are valued according to mutually agreed upon covenants and assessment. So let us say you don't have a house, you always wanted to have an own house, but you don't have it. You can go there, buy a house and stay there, but it's all virtual. But now what is the problem? Psychiatrists and behavioral scientists are already predicting a loss of emotional quotient, that is EQ, not IQ, but EQ is going to be lost. A loss of individuality and dulling of our sensitivities. Already this is happening because of social media, but this is going to be extremely worst. And currently there is something called as obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, and these cases are on rise. And moreover, this metaverse habit, it dulls empathy and emotions, because everything is virtual. You go inside there virtually, you do whatever you want, you don't feel guilty, and that could become your habit later on. So it dulls empathy and emotions. So about this OCD, it's actually a mental illness, and I have already spoken about this in our history class as well. And this is something which most people are not aware of, something which actually many people have this, but as we already know, our country is known for neglecting mental health. OCD is one such thing, but usually people mistake this OCD with mythical things or superstitious beliefs, such as devil or ghost, or some sort of black magic or spells have been done. That is what people mistake this OCD with, and people are easily exploited with this OCD, because when you have OCD something, and when you don't know it is a mental illness, it can be cured by a psychiatrist, and you start going to priests and they exploit you very easily. So something to be known, apart from this topic, OCD is also a science topic. So go to the internet, search about OCD and know about it, and if you get some good details, put it in our comments as well for us to know. And the next topic is China's artificial moon. So we already know China has already created an artificial sun. Now they have gone to artificial moon, and for that they are on the process of creating it, and for that they have built an artificial moon research facility. They have created a research facility that is capable of lowering the gravity using magnetism. These all could be prelims questions. They are trying to reduce gravity using magnetism, and this research facility is the first in the world. Nowhere else it's there. They are the first in the world. The idea is to make gravity disappear by using powerful magnetic fields inside a 60 cubic vacuum chamber. So the mini moon is about 2 feet in diameter, and the artificial surface has been made with rocks and dust. The idea is to develop artificial moon facility has its root in the Russian-born physicist Andrei Gim. In his experiment, he tried to levitate a frog with a magnet, and he was also successful, and he even got a Nobel Prize for that. So how do they do this? Atoms, we know, are made of atomic nuclei and tiny electrons that orbit around them in a little loops of current. So we know there's a nucleus, and that nucleus has protons and neutrons, and around that you have these electrons revolving around like this. And when something revolves or rotates, we know it could always create an electric current. So it creates an electric current. Whenever there is an electric field, we know there will be a magnetic field, which we have studied in our school days in physics. So this magnetic field means there is always a magnetic field around each atom. So usually what happens, these magnetic fields cancel out each other. But when we apply an extra magnetic field to these atoms, everything changes. The electrons will modify their motion, producing their own magnetic field to oppose the magnetic field. So because they are supposed to have null magnetic field, but when you are providing some external magnetic field, they want to be in that null magnetic field, so they produce some magnetic field to cancel out the magnetic field provided artificially by us. So if the external magnet is very much stronger, the magnetic force of repulsion between it and the field of the atoms will grow powerful enough to overcome gravity and levitate the project. So what is happening here? The atom, for example, in the case of our frog's experiment, the atoms in that frog's body, it creates a magnetic field to repel the magnetic field given artificially by us. And when this magnetic field becomes strong enough, it repels so much that the frog starts to deceive gravity and levitate. So this same technology is being used by China to create an artificial moon. So the next one, gain of research. So this could be a much more important current affair, because we know whenever there is some health issues or something, pandemics going on in the country, questions are very much easier to be asked. So this question is again regarding coronavirus. So this could be an important question. So pay attention. So gain of function. It is a research focused on growing generations of microorganisms under conditions that causes mutation in a virus, because naturally we know that as generations go on for a virus, it starts to mutate. It wants to survive, it starts to mutate, but we never know, we cannot predict what it's going to become after the mutations. It could be deadly as well. So before the virus does that, why don't we do it? We try to do it in the lab, and we'll see what are the possibilities it has to mutate, and if it mutates in such a way, what could be the problem for us, and maybe we can find a solution much earlier enough so that we are safe. So this is the idea here. So these experiments are termed gain of function because we involve manipulating these pathogens in a way that they gain an advantage in or through a function such as increased transmissibility. So they want to transmit, they want to get a host. When that host is not sufficient enough, when it's not easier enough for that pathogen to live, it tries to find another way to go to some other host. So this is why the virus keep on mutating. So but when we try to predict it, when we try to simulate it here, maybe we could come to a conclusion. So how is it done actually? So gain of function research may use two ideas. One is genetic engineering, the other one is serial passaging. So genetic engineering, we edit the genetic code to modify the virus. So this is one way. But in the serial passaging, we just allow the pathogen to grow under different circumstances. We just allow it to grow in different circumstances, and we see how it tries to mutate within the lab, and we try to find a conclusion for that. Now, gain of function involves manipulations that may certain pathogens or microbes become more deadly or more transmissible. So you try to mutate it, you try to modify it, you try to genetically modify it, do something like that, it could become dangerous as well. So there is also a loss of function research, which means there is something called as loss of function research, which involves inactivating the mutations, resulting in a significant loss of original function or no function to the pathogen. This is like that, like the opposite one of gain function. So it is loss of function. We try to inactivate the mutation. And gain of function research, sometimes it carries biosafety and biosecurity risks, and is thus therefore referred as dual use research of concern. It's like we used to say like a double-edged sword, right? It could even kill the enemy, it could sometimes even kill you, something like that. So it maybe the research could be a good one. You try before the virus mutates, you know how it could mutate, you can come up with a good solution, a medicine or a vaccine or something. But sometimes it could mutate in such a way that you are not able to control it, it transmits and it reaches the world. And this is what is suspected today of coronavirus. Maybe the lab in Wuhan, this is what they tried gain of function. The virus mutated to something else, and somehow it escaped the lab. And what type of gain of function did Wuhan lab do? They actually did this serial passaging method. They did not do genetic engineering, they did the serial passaging method to do this gain of function research, and it is suspected that this is the time when the virus somehow left the lab and it reached the people, and now and we are suffering a lot because of that until today. And now in India, how is it regulated? All activities related to genetically engineering organisms or cells or anything are regulated as per the, this is an important prelims question, know it. They are regulated as per manufacture, use, import, export and storage of hazardous microorganisms or genetically engineered organisms or cells, rules 1989. So this is the rule which regulates any sort of genetic engineering in India. And in 2020, the Department of Biotechnology, it issued certain guidelines for the establishment and containment facilities called as biosafety labs. So if you are going to establish a lab, something like an Wuhan lab, you have to follow these rules under the Department of Biotechnology. And the next topic is about some good news. So India is known for importing arms. Okay, we are one of the largest importer of arms, and we lose lot of our hard-earned wealth because of this. And now there's a good news that Philippines has signed an agreement with India to buy BRAHMOS. They are going to buy BRAHMOS missiles. So let us know something about BRAHMOS. So this BRAHMOS is a joint venture between DRDO and Russia's NPO Mashinostroyenia, the company's name. Anyway, you don't have to know that. And it derives its name from Brahmaputra and Mosca to get this name BRAHMOS. And this BRAHMOS, it is capable of being launched from land, sea, submarine and air. So being capable of launching a missile from submarine is very much important, because this is what makes a country very much deadly. Because any country is going to attack a particular country with nuclear weapons, let us say, they know very well that if that second country has the capability of launching a missile from submarine, it could easily go for a second attack. So if the first country attacks the second country, and if the second country has the capability of a submarine, even if they are attacked, they will attack back. So no country will dare to attack a country which has the capability of launching missiles, particularly nuclear warhead missiles, using a submarine. So BRAHMOS is capable of being launched from submarines as well, and it has already been inducted by Indian Armed Forces. The range of the missile was actually, at the beginning, it was just 290 kilometers, because of the restriction given under Missile Technology Control Regime. We famously call it as MTCR, right? But in 2016, India got the membership of this MTCR, and so we can increase the range beyond 290. And now the BRAHMOS missiles which are going to be manufactured later are going to be from 450 to 600 kilometers in range. And some other details about this BRAHMOS missile: this is a cruise missile. So what is a cruise missile? There is some other missile called as a ballistic missile, which uses a path like a parabola. So when you launch it, it goes to the sky, and from there it falls just using the gravity. They are too fast, they are too dangerous, they go for very long distances. Cruise missiles are normally used for short distances, but the one advantage of cruise missiles is even after launching these missiles, you can change the direction. Okay, so this you can also maneuver these missiles, so that is something important here. But in the case of ballistic missile, it reaches the sky and from there just falls. It goes and hits the target. You cannot control it. But these cruise missiles, you can control them, and moreover, they have the capability of sea skimming. They can skim the water and go just above the sea, so that to avoid radars of the enemy. So these are specialities of BRAHMOS, and of course, I hope most of you will know, this is the fastest cruise missile in the entire world today. So this BRAHMOS is something very great missile, and now it has started to fetch revenue for India. So the next topic is NeoCov. So NeoCov, it is a new strain of coronavirus, and it is related to MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. It is not related to SARS. The coronavirus which we are experiencing presently, they are related to SARS, we know that. Okay, but this NeoCov, actually it is related to MERS. And this MERS was in news before a few years, where it was affecting people in the Middle Eastern countries, particularly in the countries where deserts were huge. And this virus, it has high mortality rate, such like MERS. MERS has a high mortality rate and high transmission rate like that of SARS. It's a mixture of both, and the deadly mixture of both, to say. And this NeoCov, since we say it's a new strain, don't think it's a very new one. It was actually first identified in 2011. It was identified in 2011, and it was identified in a species of bat known as Neoromycia. Okay, it was identified in a species of bat known as Neoromycia. You can see these bats here, and these bats are also known as allobats. This species is distributed as Afro-Maglesai region, and something important to note here is this NeoCov shares 85% similarity to MERS. So the rest 15% it shares with SARS. So it's a combination of MERS and SARS. Next topic is small satellite launch vehicle, another great milestone from India or from ISRO. The small satellite launch vehicle, or simply the SSLV, is intended to cater to a market for launch of small satellites into the low Earth orbits. Okay, these vehicles, they can carry satellites weighing up to 500 kgs, and they are small vehicles, and these rockets, they weigh only up to 110 ton, and they can be integrated just in 72 hours, and they need only 6 people to do this. and the cost will be only 30 crores. I don't think anywhere in the world a rocket is manufactured for 30 crore, and we do it. And it is suitable for launching from multiple microsatellites at a time, and also supports multiple orbital drop-offs, because I hope you would have read it in news some 1 or 2 years before. India has the record for launching the highest number of satellites in a single launch. Okay, so we launch many satellites from a single rocket, and this SSLV will be suitable for that and very much capable for that. Apart from that, also multi-orbital drops. So you can drop one in at a height of, let us say, 80 kilometers from the Earth, and and another satellite at 90 kilometers high from the Earth. So multi-orbital drop-offs are also possible with this. And something to be known is our new ISRO chairman Somnath. He is the one who designed and developed the SSLV when he was the director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, which is in Tirunelveli. The launch of small satellites has until now been dependent on piggyback rides with big satellite launches on PSLV. So what is piggyback? That is when huge satellites are sent, along with these small satellites also will be sent in the PSLV rocket, because just to send a small 500-gram rocket, you are not going to, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. They carry satellites weighing even somewhere around 500 grams, half a kg satellites they can carry. Okay, and these huge satellites, when they are sent, along with them these small satellites will also be sent. They cannot be launched exclusively, but now since we have this SSLV, even a 500-gram small satellite can be launched. Now the next topic is about lithium. Okay, in Serbia there have been a huge protest nowadays. They are blocking roads, bridges, all these things are going on to protest against Rio Tinto plants to mine lithium in a place called Jadar Valley in a Lozinka town in Serbia. So such a thing, definitely we know that we have to know the map of Serbia. This could turn into a map question. You can see here, Serbia is a landlocked country. It is a landlocked country, and it's being bordered on the east by Romania and Bulgaria. To the west you have Bosnia and Herzegovina and also Croatia. To the north you have Hungary. To the south you have Albania, Macedonia. Okay, so you don't see any sea or ocean touching it here. This is a landlocked country. So why this is so important? Because the lithium, if it is mined from here, it will be enough to operate 1 million electric vehicles. Along with that, these mines will also give boric acid and sodium sulfate. And if this mine was successful, it would have made Europe's most lithium producing mine. So special it is. But then why are the protests? So many good things are then why are the protests? Because Serbia is already known for polluted air. Serbia has ranked as Europe's 5th and world's 32nd most polluted country. And according to a 2019 report by Global Alliance on Health and Pollution, Serbia is one of the top 10 countries with the most deaths due to pollution. So there is 175 deaths per 1 lakh death just because of pollution. And being a science and tech video, we have to know something about lithium itself. It is a soft silvery white metal. It is normally lightest metal and the lightest solid element, lightest and lightest. Okay, it is highly reactive and flammable, and it must be stored in a mineral oil to avoid getting blast or burnt. It is an alkali metal and it is also a rare metal. And moreover, it has the highest specific heat capacity of any solid element, not just a metal. In any solid element, this has the highest specific heat capacity, and its single valence electron allows it to be a good conductor of electricity. Of course, that's why each and every one of our phone or electric cars are all using lithium in present. And in India, the thermonuclear application makes lithium as a prescribed substance under the Atomic Energy. So under the Atomic Energy Act of 1962, an object will be called as a prescribed substance if that object can be used for some sort of nuclear activity. Okay, and what does this flammable mean? So we have 3 terms: flammable, inflammable, and non-flammable. You would have watched in this oil tankers and all, it would have been written inflammable. So what is inflammable is? Inflammable is it will burn or it will blast. When you take some substance like fire to it, you take a matchbox near it, you take a lighter or something, you do something like that, it will burn. Flammable, it will just burn. If it is just exposed to air, it will burn. You don't have to do anything, it will just burn. That is flammable. Non-flammable is, it's like water. Even if you light a matchstick and throw it on it, it will not burn. So such substances are called as non-flammable. The next topic is P.stutzeri. I hope I have pronounced it right. I'm not very sure. Sorry if I was wrong. And what is this used for? This is a microorganism. So usually art restorers have usually employed chemical agents, and more recently they use laser techniques to remove dirt, oil, something like that, things from these monuments. Okay. But since 1980s, when researchers first used a bacteria called Desulfibro vulgaris to clean marble monuments in USA, to clean marble monuments such as like how we have the Taj Mahal here, they used this particular bacteria called as Desulfibrio vulgaris. And now they have discovered a new such bacteria, and that is called as P.stutzeri. And can they use this bacteria to clean the Taj Mahal? So now this is a question. So we know the Taj Mahal is being polluted very badly, and we know even its color has changed completely. So can this bacteria be used to clean Taj Mahal? Whether it can be used or not, we first need to study the marble to understand if it is just dust and particulate carbon causing the dark color, or if it is a biofilm. So if it's a biofilm, it's too difficult. Okay, so biofilms are formed when communities of microorganisms adhere to a surface. So all these are prelims questions. So how a biofilm is formed? When communities of microorganisms adhere to a surface and they stick there. Okay, so if it's just dust and carbon, it can be removed, but if it's a biofilm, maybe cannot use this. And some miscellaneous topics for prelims. A book called India's Women Unsung Heroes have been released. It's actually a comic book with complete pictures to show to narrate the story, and it was released alongside the Republic Day celebrations. It was released by the Culture Ministry in partnership with Amar Chitra Katha, and it has details about few of our women freedom fighters, and let us see them one by one. It could be potential prelims questions, and moreover, if you can very well use them in mains questions in a time when we are debating on whether women can be used in the armed forces for combat purposes. Okay, we can use this. So the first one was Rani Abbaka. She was a Tuluva queen and who thwarted Portuguese attacks. So this Portuguese is really important. They could very easily confuse you with asking she fought against East India Company. And she belonged to the Chauta dynasty, who ruled over this Karnataka, coastal Karnataka region, and their capital was Putige. Each and every data here is important. And the next queen was Matangiri Hazra. Actually, I'm sorry, she was not a queen, she was a freedom fighter from Bengal. And something important to note here, she was shot dead by the British police on September 1942 for participating in the Quit India movement. We know thousands of people were shot dead and killed in the Quit India movement, and one was her. She was known as Gandhi Buri, which means in Bengali, Old Lady Gandhi. So we know Frontier Gandhi, but now she is Old Lady Gandhi. She took part in the civil disobedience movement and was arrested, and of course in the Quit India movement she was shot dead. And next one is Gulab Kaur. In Manila, in Philippines, she joined the Ghadar party, and from there she fought for freedom. Okay, so fighting with Ghadar party, I hope it's such a heroic thing to do, and she was a part of it. And next we have Padmaja Naidu. The name sounds similar, don't it? It's because she was the daughter of Sarojini Naidu. At the age of 21, she co-founded the Indian National Congress in Hyderabad, because Congress was only for British India, but she founded Indian National Congress in the princely state of Hyderabad, and she was jailed for taking part in the Quit India movement. And she became the MP in Free India. She became an MP in 1950, and she was also the 5th governor of West Bengal from 1956 to 1967. So this could be again asked. She was the governor of West Bengal, and she was not the president. Noted. And the next one is Velu Nachiyar. She was credited with something very special, that is, she was the first Indian queen to wage war against the East India Company. With the help of Hyder Ali's army and some feudal lords and the Marudu brothers and some Dalit commanders and Tandavarayan Pillai. You can see here how diplomatic she has been, how great a warrior she had been. She's too great, okay. And she was a queen of the Sivagangai estate from 1780 to 1790, and she is lovably called as Veeramangai in the Tamil speaking region, which means the brave woman. And the next person is Jalkari Bai, and I hope you would have most of you would have watched her in the movie in Manikarnika, okay. She was a soldier and advisor to Rani of Jhansi. When Jhansi was sieged and the situations were really bad, she disguised herself as the queen and fought on her behalf so that the queen could escape safely out of the fort. Okay, so there were many people who fought alongside Jhansi and sacrificed their life, and she was one of them. And that's it for today. Thank you. Jai Hind. If you found the content useful, please share it to your friends so that we can all learn together and grow together.